Agumon Bond of Bravery, one of the most aggressive decks in the BT6 format. In today's build, I not only go over a build that you can use for the next 2 weeks, but also the build that you can use after the starter decks drop. As always, I'll go over the card by card, the strengths, and the weaknesses. Let's begin. This deck runs 5 level 2s, 17 level 3s, 14 level 4s, 4 level 7s, 8 option cards, and 7 tamers. For level 2s, this deck runs 1 BT5 Koromon and 4 DemiMeramon. BT5 Koromon is simply here to add another egg to your 5 eggs. It's mainly present for card draw with your Greymons when you swing, because sometimes resources can be hard to come by in this deck. As for your primary level 2s, I went with 4 DemiMeramons to give that plus 1000 DP buff going into the security. It's always helpful, and especially with how tempo this deck is. While this deck isn't full on aggro, this deck is designed for a more aggro control mindset, setting up your Digimon one by one and going for lethal sometimes in a turn. With DemiMeramon, that plus 1000 DP buff can sometimes save your Greymon from deletion. And with 2 checks per a swing with P-010 Greymon, he can get big sometimes, only losing to level 6s and option cards. For level 3s, I am running 4 BT1 Agumon, 3 Agumon Expert, 4 Flamemon, 4 BT6 Agumon, and 2 P-009 Agumon. BT1 Agumon is in this deck to help search for your tamers. After all, Tai is required in order to get to Bond of Bravery if you're really going for game. Agumon Expert is a great way to recycle bodies, whether it be your normal Agumons or looping your Experts for 1 chip into security each turn. Or even your Bond of Braveries. Flamemon, again, another resource to grab not only your tamers, but your hybrid Digimon as well. BT6 Agumon for the extra security check with Bond of Bravery, and P-009 Agumon for that 2000 DP buff. You may be wondering why I'm only running 2 of these instead of 4. Agumon Experts can recycle this guy too, but his ability is only applicable to Greymon. For level 4s, I'm running 4 BT3 Security Greymon, 4 BT4 Agunimon, P-010 Greymon, and 2 starter deck Koromon. I'd playtested this build before without any blockers, and the blockers can be helpful, especially if you're trashing your own security to get to Bond. In addition, Koromon dodges a lot of destruction effects from Jesmon that would normally kill your blocker. Granted, Jesmon can still pierce, but why does it matter when you have only 1 or 0 security left? Skipping 5s and 6s, I jump straight to level 7s with Agumon Bond of Bravery. This powerhouse can delete any Digimon with 13,000 DP or less when attacking, and trash the top security if you do. Mandatory 4 of in this deck. For option cards, I run 2 A Delicate Plan, 1 Heir of Dragons, 2 Trident Revolvers, and 3 Gaia Force. A Delicate Plan is an absolute must in the upcoming format, especially if you're playing red. Hammer Spark is still a widely played card, but now there's also Security Control and 3 Musketeers, all of which can easily delete your entire board at the inopportune time. Heir of Dragons is a single tech card, mainly to draw more cards. It also does delete a Digimon with 4000 DP or less if you have a Greymon on the board. Trident Revolver is a great solution to take out blockers and or smaller Digimon that are less than 6000 DP while also allowing you to play your tamers. And lastly, Gaia Force. I only run 3 because play cost is a little steep, not to mention with Craniumon making a comeback, this card's ineffective. Finally, 7 tamers in the form of Marcus Damon for memory gain when swinging with Greymons, and the mandatory 4 Tai Kamiyas to warp right to Agumon Bond of Bravery. Conveniently, if you have multiple, the effect stacks, and draws you multiple cards and gains you multiple memory. As for discussion points, why no Magnadramon? I personally don't like Magnadramon. Running 1 or 2 of these and just handing your opponent so much memory in the upcoming format can be deadly. Facing against Gabumon? If they have hybrids in their hand, you're done. Security control? Another board wipe. As for why not Red Reamer, the caveat of your opponent having 3 bodies to delete a Digimon with 13,000 DP or less is situational. With Gabumon being one of the most popular decks in the upcoming format, Red Reamer can't even touch Gabumon if it's checked in the security. But Gaia Force? Get out of here! Agumon Bond of Bravery has been a very fun deck to play so far, but there's also going to be a lot of changes once the starter decks drop. For this untested future build, I keep my ratios the same, but I do change up some numbers. First, I reduced Agumon Experts from 3 to 2, and swapped out the 2 P-009 Agumons and one of those Agumon Experts into 3 starter deck 7 Agumons. After all, their DP buff is generically across all Digimon, which helps even the Agumon Bond of Bravery going over 12k Digimon. Security BT3 Greymon has now been replaced with Geo Greymon from starter deck 7, allowing for Digimon deletion when it's checked in the security and being 1k bigger. The last change is eliminating the Trident Revolvers and Arrow Dragons for 3 copies of Atomic Blaster. This helps keep your opponent off wide boards, and is effective against Rookie Rush and Gabumon decks. Although without any data, it's hard to predict how Rookie Rush will evolve, so this is purely theoretical. Overall, Agumon Bond of Bravery has the strength of having good removal, now and after starter decks drop. But for weaknesses, Agumon suffers from any typical red deck, where you put all your eggs in one basket. And if Agumon Bond of Bravery hits a 15k DP body in the security, he's done. Presently, buffing Agumon Bond of Bravery is a little difficult, but this improves with the starters. But for other weaknesses, you may see having so many on-play Digimon searching for tamers to be less helpful, and sending all of your goodies to the bottom of the deck. That being said, it is important to critically think about what cards may or may not be left in your deck when playing these. My strategy when playing these types of cards is always thinking about what cards do I have in hand and in trash. Knowing this, I can maximize value off Flamemon if I have 0 Agunimons or other Flamemons in hand or trash. Likewise, if I have multiple hybrid cards in hand, I know the Flamemon won't likely net me a hybrid. But I can play BT1 Agumon for 2 extra cards deeper for a tamer. Agumon Bond of Bravery is a really fun deck to play, but adjust the deck to your style. Maybe you're a more control aggro player and want to have more defensive option cards. Maybe you want to play a more traditional build that evos Agumon Bond of Bravery from a level 6. Let me know how you feel about Agumon Bond of Bravery in the upcoming format in the comments below, and what changes you'd make to the deck. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.